Welcome back to my channel. My name is Damola and I film from Lagos, Nigeria. I film on HR tips, inspiration, positivity and lifestyle. Now in this particular video, this is our first HR tips. It's our first HR tips video and I'm going to be showing you how to write a CV, and I'll be giving you a few tips that you need to know for your CV success. At the end of this video, you would surely be able to understand what a CV is, the few tips you need to know, and generally how to write a CV. Okay, so the next thing you're going to be seeing now would be my PowerPoint slides and me explaining to you how to write a CV, what a CV means, what you need to have on your CV, what you shouldn't have on your CV, and then the few tips on the CV writing. So a CV is a document that shows vital and relevant information about you to your prospective employer. Yes, so it's that simple. Now note that I said vital and relevant information about you. So you don't need to include all of the information about you on your CV. You only need to include information that are vital, information that are very relevant to your prospective employer. We're going to get right into that to talk about the things you don't need to include on your CV. Okay, now we already said that the full meaning of a CV is curriculum vitae, which is the definition we have just given right now. A document that shows vital and relevant information about you to your prospective employer. Now you need to apply. Now you need a CV to apply for employment. So sometimes to apply to an institution, you also need a CV. But in this particular video, we're talking about a CV you're going to be sending to your prospective employer. So it's expected that when you're done with school, when you're done with college, you want to go out there to look for a job. You want to go out there to work. Now, for you to be able to get a job, you need to submit something. Now, what you're submitting there is a document. And what that document means, or the document, is a CV. So you need to have a CV that has information that your employer wants to know about you before they can actually think about getting you employed into their company. So that's basically what a CV is about, and we're talking about a CV to your prospective employer. Now when I say prospective employer, the person that you have the intention of working with. You are applying to the person to say, I want to work for you. Now that's what a CV is, and it is important that you have this if you must apply for a job. Okay, so that's basically what a CV is. That simple. Now CV doesn't have to have all the information about you. Now it's funny, but some people still put information such as their height, their weight, their religion, their family picture, or their position in the family on their CV. So some people actually write, I'm the first child in the family of 6, or they put some. So some people actually write something like, now it's funny, but some people actually write something like, I'm a father of 2, married to a beautiful woman, or just, I think I've seen that maybe on LinkedIn or something, I don't know, but yeah, I've seen that funny phrase before, like somebody writing, I'm a father of 2, married to like a beautiful wife or something. You don't need that on your CV. Like, that's too much for you to have on your CV, except maybe the company specifically requested that, okay, Damola, put this thing on your CV. We need to know whether you have children, or we need to know whether you're married, or just all of those personal information. Otherwise, you don't need to have all of those information on your CV. Okay, so unless this information has been specifically requested by the company you intend to work for, you don't need this information on your CV. What should I have on my CV? Now I've stated them out here. So now you might still add to some of these things, relevant and vital, again emphasizing that. So you really need to have your contact information, you need to have your personal profile, you need to have your skills, you need to have education, your work history, interests and hobbies, and then reference. So I always recommend that you have your reference as available on request reference. Okay, so these are the things, these are the vital information that you need to have on your CV. And if there's still some other vital information that it's not included here, please add it as well. But yeah, these are the vital and basic information you just need on your CV. You don't need your family history, you don't know whether you're married or all of that. So we're going to get right into actually explaining each of this information right now. Now the first thing I have here is your contact information. So this includes vital contact information. Now contact information includes your name, your address, where you live, your phone number. This is so important for them to be able to contact you if they find a CV worthy. Your email address is important as well. Your LinkedIn profile link. So now if you don't have a LinkedIn profile yet, I recommend that you sign up for one, because as a job seeker you can actually find more links to people. Accessibility to people that you want to work for is easier on LinkedIn than any other social media. So you can always, please do also sign up on LinkedIn, open a profile, and you can always talk to professionals there, people who are already in jobs and who are even looking out for people to come join them in their companies. So LinkedIn is a very good social media platform to also more like get jobs. So I recommend that you sign up for one if you don't have people who are working in a company that you desire. So it's very easy. Or your contact information, like I said here, ensure that it is very visible on your CV, because yes, they need to see your name, they need to see your address. And the reason why I said this is because some companies just want you to work in a particular location. So if you have Lagos is a state in Nigeria, so if you have Lagos on your CV and maybe they're looking out for somebody who lives in your state, the first thing is they would not call you because you don't live in that location. So why don't you put your location there so that they can know that, okay, you're available for this job and you're in this location. Because some jobs actually specifically request that you need to be in this location before we can give you those jobs. So it is important that this information, your contact information, are very visible so that your prospective employer can say that, okay, this is your name, this is your address, this is your phone number, email address, and LinkedIn profile as well. These things have to be there. So the next thing I'll be talking about is your personal profile. Now this is the opening sentence of your CV that describes who you are. So this contains information about you, the skills that you have, a little information about your career and professional experience. It is important that you keep it short and simple. Now, so you can have on your personal profile page like something like Adedamola is a passionate HR management professional with confidence and determination to lead change, develop and implement effective new systems and procedures. So this is just talking about what I can do, what I can do, what I'm passionate about. And then you can go on to write something like, my passion lies in helping companies to understand the importance of people, culture, just depending on your profession and depending on your career path. You can always look out for something to write. So it's going to be introducing you to whoever is reading your CV. They're going to be understanding who you are, what you can do, the skills that you have acquired, maybe the places that you have worked. So I have something like I've worked in the financial sector, I've worked in the educational sector, I've worked in the clinic sector as well. So just more like letting them know that I've worked in all of these sectors, and so I can work in any sector that I decide to throw my CV to. So they're understanding the fact that okay, this person has worked here, she has worked there, she has worked there. Yeah, she might be able to also work in a construction place as well. So you're throwing out a lot of things, a lot of information, but at the same time you're not throwing out too many irrelevant. So it is important that you keep it short and simple. So these days employers want to see what you're good at. And the interview session, when you go for the interview, you have a better time and a better chance to be able to tell them this is what I'm very good at, because then you can talk. But right now it's your paper doing the talking for you. Your skill can be something we call subject skill. It can be something that you like, and it can be something that you do. So your subject skill are the skills that you learned in school. So I studied HR. That's my skill already. So I studied economics. Of course, that is it, because you've been taught that particular subject. So it is expected that you're graduating and you're an expert in that. Yeah, of course. So I'll identify your skills. I intend to do that, but let me know in the comment section if that's what you would be interested in. But basically your skills are important. They are like your selling point when you are pushing out your CV. Okay, so and then again, for people who are very much experienced in roles, I don't recommend that you put your educational I don't recommend that you put your educational information or I don't recommend that you put your education information first before your experience. So if you are an experienced person seeking for a job or writing a CV, I would recommend that you have your experience first before your educational qualification. I feel like that should come like after you've even written out your experience, because that way employers want to see what you're good at, your experience, the skills that you've gained so far, and not your education. So your education may not really it matters, but it may not really be your selling point at this particular point. So in this part, your educational history, this should contain the year that you graduated from school, the course that you did, the school that you went to, the grade that you graduated with, or the result or the division you graduated with. So maybe you finished a second class upper, or you finished with a distinction, or you finished with, yeah, so just more like write out the grade that you graduated with. Okay, the next thing I'll be saying is that some companies also require, so they want you to have like some of the subjects that you did, maybe some that are very tailored to the job you're applying for. Now I would say this is for like fresh graduates. So maybe you're applying for like a role in HR. They want to see something that you have done in HR. So some of them want to see those core HR, some of them want to see those core HR modules or core HR modules or courses that you did. So you might just need to write out some of the modules that you did on your CV. Otherwise you might just leave that out as well if they don't request for it. Otherwise you might just leave that out as well if they don't request for it. Okay, so now the next thing is your work history. So this part contains information of your past and present job or work experience. So the information required here are your job title, the company you worked, what you did, your job role, your achievements, the month and the year of your work. So don't forget to look at the job description and ensure to align your work history to the job description. So remember I said you don't need to write out your job description. What you're writing out is what you achieved or what you did on that job. So now when they put out a job description out there asking for somebody who is going to be performing a role of content creation. You're going to be creating content, and then you've done that before. So you're aligning it, you're writing on your CV, I created content to facilitate a training, or just something in the line of what has been written in that job description. You're now bringing it back to your CV and making sure that I've done this, and so you're writing it on your CV to say I have done this, or I am doing this currently, so that the person who is reading your CV knows that there's an alignment between who they're looking for and what you're currently doing. Okay, so in this part as well, you can put the success that you achieved on the job, and that's why I wrote your achievements. So the period when you were in that job, the period when you were on that role, or the period when you were doing that internship. Now I'm assuming that you don't have any experience at all. The period when you were doing that internship, or the period when you were in college, what did you do? What was your major milestone? What did you achieve? This is the place where you get to sell yourself to your employer and tell them, this is what I did when I was working as a customer service person. This is what I did when I was working as an HR person. This is what I did when I was working as a graphic designer. So you're letting them know that, okay, you can actually do this thing. You were just not there for the sake of just passing. You were there and you're able to add value to them. Employer wants to see people who are able to add value to their organization. So the internships, the voluntary jobs that you did, they are all work experience. So you have a work experience. If you're a fresh graduate, you need to look back at the internship. What did you do when you went for internship? What did you achieve? Or did you even volunteer for like a community service? Did you even volunteer for like a community service kind of activity? What did you do? All of those things form part of your work experience, and you need to be able to translate all of these things in your CV, because those are the things that would build up for you to have a work experience on your CV before you then start having a major one when you start working in a company. So all of these things are actually not to be overlooked. They're important for you to have. Ensure to write out your achievements. They're very important, right? What are your interests and hobbies should be included if they are tailored and relevant to the role that you're applying for. Yeah, I would say I just want to always say relevant, so that you don't put something that will cast you. Do you get? So an example is writing, creating content, designing. Like I said, this can pass for a role in graphics designing. So if you like chatting, you can obviously write chatting is your hobby. I don't think writing chatting has been your hobby. Way that the employer sees that you can do this, and this thing that you can do can actually be translated to the kind of job that we do here, and so it can also help you to add value to us. Okay, so a reference is someone who can provide information about you. These are people who can provide information about your character, your professional expertise. And a potential reference can be your previous employer, they can be your college lecturer, they can be an individual in your school. Sometimes they can be your relative, but most times companies don't want your father to reference you, they don't want your mother to reference you, they don't want your sister to reference you. So it can still be like a family friend, somebody that knows about you, somebody that can talk about your character, somebody that can talk about that you're good on this job. Someone that can just more recommend you and say this person is good, has a good character, and the person is good in this particular job. That's who a reference is. Again, I always recommend that. Unless the company or unless the employer has specifically requested that, put this reference on your CV. I recommend that you don't put your reference. I just feel like you should write something like available on request. I don't think it's a harm on any employer if they don't ask you. So unless they specifically ask and say put a reference, because some actually do, they ask you to write out your reference once you're applying for a job. Otherwise, I don't think you need to write a reference. I don't think you need to start writing or listing out your reference on your CV. Again, thank you so much for joining me in this video, and I'll see you again in my next video. Do well to subscribe to my channel, do well to like, share this video with somebody who might need it, share the video with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you again in the next video. Bye.